In this video, we would see how to install Docker on CentOS Linux 7 or 8. For CentOS 7 or 8, we will use yum tool for installing Docker. For that, we need to enable the Docker yum repository. Once we enable it, when we run yum commands, corresponding packages will be downloaded and those will be installed in the VM. Now let us open a Linux terminal and we'll see how to install this Docker on CentOS 7 or 8. Let us start. This is a Linux terminal with version CentOS 7. Let us verify the version of the operating system. This is EL7 and with kernel version 3.10.0.1127. One of the prerequisites for Docker installation is to have a layered file system or union file system. So this file system will allow us to create read-write layer on top of read-only layers. There are different types of union file systems exist like overlay, overlay 2, etc. Overlay 2 file system is the recommended one. For that we need to have a kernel version with a minimum of 3.10.0.514. So we have this kernel version. So now let us try to install Docker. For installing Docker, we need to add the Docker yum repository to the list of yum repositories we have. Here we don't have any repository corresponding to Docker CE. Here Docker CE means Docker Community Edition. There is another edition called Docker Enterprise Edition. But in this session, I would show how to install Docker Community Edition. Now let us add this Docker CE repo to the list of yum repos. So for adding the repo, we need to use yum config manager. So to have this yum configuration manager, we have to install yum tools. So let me log in with the root user. Let us install yum tools now. Yum tools package is installed. Now let us add the Docker CE repo to the list of yum repos. Now we can see that the Docker CE repo is added to yum repos directly. So now we can install Docker. For installing Docker, we have yum install command. Here Docker CE will install the Docker engine. This is for Docker CE client. And container D is the daemon which will run when we start Docker. And Docker Compose plugin will be used to run Docker Compose commands. So let us run this command. Let us accept this. Now all these packages will be downloaded from the Docker CE repository and those will be installed in our CentOS operating system. Now all the packages of Docker are installed. Let us start Docker using systemctl command. Now Docker is started. We can verify the status of Docker. Now we can see that the Docker is up and running. The Docker daemon is running with the container D socket. And also we can see that the API is listening on a Docker socket here. We can verify the permissions on this Docker socket. We can see that the Docker socket is owned by root user and the Docker group. That means the users belonging to the Docker group or the root user can execute Docker commands. So if we want to allow any person to execute Docker commands, we should add them to the Docker group. Now I will try to exit from this root session. So now I have logged in with a test user which is a non-root user. So I will execute a Docker command here like docker ps. Now it is saying that the permission is denied while trying to connect to the Docker daemon socket. So that means this user needs to be added to the Docker group. So let me log out from the session and I will add this user to the Docker group. So here I am adding the test user to the Docker group. So let me add it. Now the user is added. So now I will relog in the test user. Let us verify the groups here. Now we can see that the user is added to the Docker group. And let me execute docker ps now. Now we can see that I did not get any error. Though I did not get any container because we did not create any Docker images. So let me execute a Docker command here to create a container. This command will download a hello world Docker image and it will create the container out of it. So now we can see that the Docker image is downloaded and also the container is created and it is executed. We can verify whether the container has created docker ps-a command. So this way we can allow the permission for a non-root user by adding that user to a Docker group. And we forgot to check one more thing, like Docker version. This is the Docker version, and also we can verify more information about this Docker installation, Docker info command. So this info command shows many things, like what is the version and all, and we can see that how many images we have, how many containers we have, and we can see that the storage driver is overlay 2. It supports our Union file system, and the registry it is using as default Docker registry, which is Docker Hub. We can change this later in the later videos. So this way we can install and configure a Docker installation on CentOS 7. We can install Docker in CentOS 8 using the same steps. Let us try doing that as well. This is a Linux terminal with version CentOS 8. Let us verify the version. Here the version is EL8 and the kernel version is 4.18.0. So this supports the overlay 2 file system. The instructions are same as CentOS 7. That means these instructions will work for CentOS 8 as well. So let us install YUMUtils first. So it is already installed in this machine. Now let us add the Docker CE repo. This repo is added to the list of yum repos we have. We can verify that. Now we can see that the Docker CE repo is added to the list of yum repos. Now let us install Docker CE and other packages. Now the installation is failed. Here the problem is the problem with installed package podman. The actual problem is the package podman requires runc greater than some version. So generally when we install containerd, it also needs runc. So there is a version mismatch of runc library for containerd and podman packages. So to install containerd, we have to erase this podman package. So let us do that. Okay, I need to do with root user. So let me erase the podman package since it is not required for us. Now the podman package is removed. Let us reinstall our Docker again. Even after removing podman, again it is failed. So now the problem is with, so this also has the conflict with runc version which is needed by our containerd. So let us remove this package as well because this is not required for us now. So now we have removed two packages, one is podman and another is builder. Let us reinstall Docker CE again. So this time it has no problems with any runc library. Let us install now. So now we have all the packages installed successfully. Let us verify the Docker version here. So the Docker version is 23.0.0. So let us start Docker now. Docker is started. Let us verify the status. The Docker is up and running. A Docker daemon is running with containerd, and we can see that the API is listening on Docker socket. And we can verify the permissions of this socket file. It is owned by root user, the users of the Docker group. So for other users, we need to add to the Docker group. So now let us log in with normal user and we'll try to execute Docker command there. So if we execute Docker ps here, now we are getting error permission denied because this user does not have access to this socket. So we have to add this user to Docker group. So for that, again, I will exit from this session and I will add that user as part of Docker group. Now test user 2 is part of Docker group. Let us relog into test user 2 and verify Docker command. So now we can see that the Docker command is successfully executed. So we can execute other Docker commands like creation of Docker images, Docker containers, etc. as we have done in CentOS 7. I will not execute those commands now. So in this video, we have seen how to install Docker in CentOS 7 and CentOS 8. And also we have seen some issues in CentOS 8 because of the conflicts with version of runc library. Here we had to remove the podman and builder packages for installing Docker. And also we have seen how to add a non-root user to Docker group to execute Docker commands. I hope this video is useful to you. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.